Setting up for success. In this module, we will look at how you can set yourself and your students up for success in a group learning classroom environment. You don't have to start from scratch. We will explore how to adjust your existing skills and strategies as an experienced instructor. Setting the right tone from day one is critical. Students need to know what to expect in their math classroom to feel comfortable. We will see some different ideas for how to form groups that you can try in your classroom. Not all topics fit the collaborative learning model, and not all activities are good. Deciding what to use and when to use it will be an important part of your job as you start to use group learning in your classroom. We will see what is meant by productive struggle and how instructors can create this kind of learning opportunity through group work. It's important to establish a balance among group work, lecture, individual work, and other techniques to support our diverse student body. The ACC Math Department strongly recommends that all developmental math faculty use group activities. However, not all topics are appropriate for group work. It's okay to lecture on those topics. It's also important to give students time for independent thinking and practice. Our math faculty identified several important strategies for using group work in your classroom. Each strategy will be discussed in this module. You have already developed a lot of successful strategies that you know work. Regardless of whether you're lecturing or having students work in groups, the challenges are usually the same. Our concerns include students working at different rates or having different abilities. We worry about students getting confused. We don't want our students to be off task. We want all students to participate. And there's never enough time to do everything we want in a single class period. And worse, we have students who are afraid of math and who think they aren't smart enough to learn math, so they resist. Even during a lecture, these issues arise. Most of us do, however, have more experience dealing with these issues in a lecture environment. For example, students who are working slower than other students can often distract by asking too many questions during lecture. How do you handle this? Have you ever ignored a student who was clearly not paying attention or disengaged from the lecture? We can't ignore these students during group work. We have to encourage all students to be engaged and participate. If you have a strategy that works for lecture, try to adapt it for group work. If you don't know how to handle a situation, hopefully the strategies described in this module will provide some guidance on how to deal with these typical issues during group work. Keep in mind that these are only suggestions. They may or may not work for your teaching style. Just as most of us have developed our lecture style, a style for using group work must also be developed through practice and over time. It's important to set the tone and let students know on the first day of class that you expect them to regularly participate in group learning. Although there are always exceptions to the rule, you might be surprised that most students rise to the occasion if this is clearly defined as your expectation. It's important to start using group activities on the first day of class and continue to use them regularly throughout the semester. We recommend at least one a week. Sometimes it's also helpful to include non-math group activities at first to help build a safe sense of community for your students. Try using a syllabus activity or an activity using the Grow Your Brain article. Although we believe there's a place for well-constructed problem sets, that's not what we mean when we talk about group activities. Choosing good activities for good topics is most important when implementing group work. The activities we encourage faculty to use are those that promote exploration and discovery. Check the online math manual for links to group activities ACC faculty have written with exploration and discovery in mind. Remember, as the instructor, it is important that you set the tone and support your students as they build their community in the classroom. It's important that they know at some point everyone struggles. Grouping specific students together can help us prove this point. It's helpful to consider both ability and attitude when choosing groups. One suggestion is to encourage higher level or faster students to help others. This doesn't mean always pairing a strong student with a weaker student. Although this can be effective with some students, it can also lead to frustrations in stronger students. They might feel that they're always doing the work and that they don't have opportunities to grow their brain because they're always helping students who didn't do their work or aren't working as hard as they are. Try encouraging cross-group interactions. Send group members who are done and understand to other groups to help. You can also identify helpers in the class. You can work with these students individually about how to help others. For example, encourage the helpers to ask questions and make sure struggling students are writing information down. Switch up the roles throughout the semester. It's amazing how asking a weaker student to be a helper for an easier topic or asking a slacker to take the responsibility can help students with confidence. Sometimes you can have a class with a handful of slackers, students who you think are capable of doing the work but they don't. You might try grouping the slackers together. Use a variety of grouping techniques. Group the students, let them work for a few minutes, and then regroup the students during the same class. If you do a lot of pairing of students, change these up every chapter or exam cycle. If you don't assign the groups, ask students to work with someone in the class they haven't worked with before. Use a specific grouping strategy, like think, pair, share, round robin, jigsaw, or group grid. More information about these grouping strategies is provided in other trainings. See the Math Plus Professional Development page for notes from previous training sessions. Another great resource is a book titled Collaborative Learning Techniques by Barclay, Cross, and Major. Remind students that part of growing their brains and learning math is enhanced by explaining, listening, and writing about math. Assigning roles can help refine these skills. Assign roles so weaker students don't become passive. You can assign a reader. Have one student in the group be responsible for reading the activity out loud. This will help students in individual groups to work at the same pace. You can assign a scribe. Collect some part of the activity for a grade, or have one problem completed and submitted by the group. Assign a timekeeper to each group. This can also help with keeping the groups together and on task. Ask students in advance who are not participating in group work to be the presenter for that group as part of the student-generated key or during the wrap-up. Another strategy is to have students do a think aloud. Assign one student as the speaker who will explain what to do and the other student as the scribe who will write down what the speaker is saying. The scribe can only ask questions. This is helpful when you have one student who dominates the conversation or one student who is passive in a group. It's tough for instructors to watch students grapple with problems when we know the best strategy already. It's also tough for students who are used to just asking for the answer. Productive struggle occurs when instructors step back and let students approach a new problem on their own. Students think of different strategies they could try, discuss with each other, which is risky for students since they don't know if they're right. Then they can test their ideas. Students will not know what to do at first, but as long as they are tossing out ideas and discussing the merits of these ideas, they are struggling through a problem productively. When the discussion stops and students are completely stuck or frustrated, the struggle becomes unproductive. This is the appropriate time for an instructor to offer a suggestion or steer the group towards the next step. Our faculty agree that student resistance is the most challenging issue. However, being honest with students and helping them see the value in working in groups is the best approach. Acknowledge that different people learn differently and explain this is why you use multiple approaches. Sometimes it's important to remind students of your experience and that you believe this is the best approach or you wouldn't be using it. Remind them that individual work and lecture time will be included too, and make sure that it is. Also remind students that the ability to work in groups successfully is one of the leading skill sets that employers look for. Their experience with group work will not only help them grow their brain, build problem-solving skills and confidence, but it will also prepare them for future jobs and other social situations they may encounter. An instructor must commit to group work. You set the tone. If you believe what you are saying, your students will see it and react accordingly. Then the real learning can begin.